What kind of idiots start a podcast in the AFL off-season? You're welcome. This is Clicking Balls.
Patrick Sowerful! Golden Moira to beat it.
Those cornermen, somebody needs to kick their ass.
All right, welcome to episode 1. Going well so far.
Well, we've managed to get some sort of sound to the microphones and got the new equipment working. So, speaking of which, we'd like to give a shout out to the people who have helped make this possible. The technical advice online, especially Reddit, has been invaluable, and we really appreciate it, guys. So, hopefully, we can give back to you and put on something that you'll enjoy.
Yeah, we got some free gear that was meant to arrive today, but I wasn't home to receive it, so hopefully I'll get that on Monday. We'll take a photo of the slapdash little setup we got going, but yeah, anyway, I thought of a joke.
All right.
I thought I can't get it in naturally, so I'll just tell you that I thought of one.
Straight out.
I thought, what are we going to call our fans? Because, like Mark Maron's got the what the F's and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What can we call ours? I thought of a name.
What's that?
Mum and Dad. I thought
That's all we got so far.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, first joke. I got it in. I win.
Hopefully, we move up and on from there because we haven't set a crack and pace. My name's Brenton, by the way, and Heath is the other person to my left. All right, whichever one. There's only two of us here, so
Yeah, we hope we usually have 3, but Josh is working like a bastard, so he's not here. All right, first cab off the rank. Let's talk about Metamoris. It was last Sunday. You've seen it?
yeah. I read the write-ups for the first couple of fights and saw the last few.
Saw the last few.
I saw a Rory McDonald fight, which I heard was one of the better ones. I didn't see a Gary Tonin fight, which I heard was amazing.
Yeah, well, Gary Tonin always comes to win.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
why he's great on those shows.
Yeah, and like we mentioned before, that makes him 2 from 2 subs at the Metamoris he's attended now, isn't it?
2 from 2, yeah.
Yeah.
And it took a little bit longer this time.
Yeah.
But no, he always puts on a great show. But I just want to see him fight Crone again.
Yeah, because he originally sort of came to prominence in the BJJ world. Was it when he was a brown belt? And he put on a really good display at was it ADCC?
Well, yeah. For me, though, it was with the ill-fated Kumite. Lloyd Erda. And he really took it up there.
Yeah,
He was one of the shining lights.
Yeah.
But it was unfortunate that tournament was sort of clouded by
Yeah.
otherwise things. But it was a great format and great to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, Kit was meant to be in that. Kit
Oh, really?
Dale. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he had, I think he had surgery
Oh, okay.
on something, so he couldn't go in it. But yeah, and then ADCC was when Crone was running through everyone.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Gary Tonin, like who's Gary Tonin?
Yeah, and he ended up cinching in was the guillotine with only seconds to go.
That Crone got him
Yeah.
with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the one where the whole tournament. You got to watch it online.
Yeah.
Hickson's just sitting there like making chicken noises and someone's running
that's the
away.
one. Yes, I do remember that one.
Crone was going through like butter.
Yeah.
And then Gary just took it up to him
That's right.
and put the fear of death into him.
Yeah.
So that's how he came on. But what I really liked about Gary Tonin, and I've seen him speak about it online, is he says he doesn't want to be known for the guy that almost beat Crone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's challenged him. He said, "I'll take him in the gi, I'll take him in the no gi, I'll take him in MMA."
Yeah. Plus, he's only young as well, isn't he? He's not very old.
He's like 22.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Him and Keenan, these young kids are coming along and just setting the world on fire, especially with BJJ. And the other thing I really liked about it was I was watching, they had Rory McDonald on Joe Rogan podcast recently. It might have been today or yesterday.
Yeah, I uploaded today. Well, I downloaded it today.
Yeah. I watched it today. I'm not sure when it was uploaded. But he was talking about he actually sought out Metamoris to compete in that tournament.
Did he?
Yeah, he was saying because his whole... And they were talking about how he's one of the first mixed martial artists to come into the UFC who actually trained mixed martial arts, not one discipline and then going into everything else.
Well, and that's something now that we've actually got people, because
Exactly.
it's always been said that mixed martial arts is the sport you go into when your sport's finished.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got ex-judo players or ex-jiu-jitsu guys, ex-collegiate wrestlers.
Yeah.
Now you've got a couple that are actually MMA. It's what they do.
Yeah, from day dot they've trained and had that goal and focus from whatever their training's been directed towards that. And we're sort of seeing the results in, not being dominant in one style, but really taking the time to learn all about different styles. But it takes a real dedicated person to pick up all those styles and take it to the nth degree and try and be the best at them, to the point where he's willing to not call out, but approach Metamoris, the top level BJJ guys, and challenge himself against them. And he said that he had to clear it through UFC, obviously, but he said straight away they accepted, said no worries.
Well, they've had other guys go through Metamoris, and I'm sure other invitationals and that kind of stuff.
And I mean, since that family created the Ultimate Fighter, or UFC, it's kind of hard to just say no.
Good promotion, and the UFC's always been good about that.
Yeah, exactly. And he was always saying that he wouldn't mind trying other tournaments as well, such as kickboxing or Muay Thai.
Yeah, really?
I mean,
if you're a fighter, you're a fighter.
Yeah, exactly. And just look who he stepped into the cage with. If we were with Tyron Woodley, who, stood them both side by side, you're like, he's gonna fuck him up.
Geez, yeah. Metamoris is one thing, but doing another striking.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, because even he was saying with the when JT got him in the Kimura, I think it was, or straight arm lock or whatever it was. He was saying that before the fight, he was thinking about it, and he was like, yeah, I'd probably tap. And said when he cinched it in, just all the adrenaline, he's like, I ain't fucking tapping.
Yeah,
he said his arm was hurting for a couple of days afterwards. He said, I was gonna let it snap.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, it would have been good for future prospects from UFC coming across and fighting Metamoris as well.
Yeah, you get the tap on the shoulder from Uncle Dana. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly. And I mean, he's one that's paying putting the food on your table, so you sort of have to look after it and that's what they say.
What about? Did you see Yuri Simone's versus Keenan?
No, I didn't. I missed that one.
Again, another pretty good match. One of the better matches on the card.
Yeah.
But even just the stills of that knee bar. And you can see Keenan's got the hand in to block it.
Yeah. But
Jesus,
it's like that guy just has unidirectional limbs. It's like Gumby.
Yeah. Even in the last Metamoris with when he fought Vinny.
Yeah.
And he had that heel hook in. I'm like, what the?
Because Vinny's a beast, and he had that locked in pretty good.
Was he good?
You can see him thinking this is probably going to be it.
Yeah. I thought it was too. Yeah. I mean, and then this time it's another knee bar, and it just doesn't tap to leg locks.
And that's what I was thinking, especially with Vinny having that. Was it a heel hook or was it a footlock? So whatever it was.
In this one?
In the last one, the last Metamoris.
In the last Metamoris with Keenan, the heel hook.
I was just curious, like, if that was a mixed martial arts fight where you're fighting to really hurt people, would he put more pressure on that? Would
I reckon same.
Would he be more inclined, or you reckon he's really going for it and putting it on?
I reckon he's really going for it and putting it on. It didn't look like he was holding back to me.
Yeah.
It's not like it's Paul Harris in there.
Yeah. And I actually missed the Vinny challenge match. I didn't see how the Marcelo Garcia student went against him either.
It did, yeah. It was a good fight. Especially some people said that Vinny, when he went to Rubber Guard, that he was a little bit, some people actually said shorbing it.
Oh, really?
It was a little bit of lockdown, but
Does he actually officially train with Eddie Bravo at all? I
have no clue.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if he hadn't. It seems like just about anybody that's walked through MMA has done something with Eddie at some stage. Yeah. But I mean, And the other thing about the event that I seen a few people comment on was, it's a submission only event.
Yeah.
And they had one submission.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then 5 draws. And I went through the list and had a look, and they've had 10 submissions out of 30 fights.
Okay. Yeah.
Since Metamoris won.
When that's the aim of your sport or your aim of your promotion, you need to get a better strike rate than that.
Yeah, and I think some of it is some of the people they've had fight. Some of them don't want to lose.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then others want to go out there and tear it up.
Yeah.
And Shorb is the obvious one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everything's been said about that, so you don't need to go any further. But have a look at Shorb compared to Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
And Sonnen, he's a showman.
Yeah,
he knows he wants to go out there and put on a show.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, they haven't had a female fight for ages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially in something like this, in a combat, martial art, where just female sports in general, they're always struggling for attention or airtime.
Yeah.
If you put 2 competitive black belts in there, they're going to tear it up.
Yeah, and even seeing the women compete in mixed martial arts, they're capable of doing things that the men can't do. Their bodies flex in ways that men don't. And so it's a whole different element to the way they fight. And I find it fascinating.
It's a different fight. Yeah. And it's not better or worse. It's different. But if you get 2 people that are wanting to prove
Yeah.
themselves, and especially women martial artists have had that
Yeah,
mentality.
exactly.
If you're stuck with it until you're
Yeah,
a black
yeah.
belt, you've got something different about you.
Yeah.
There's got to be at least 2 more female fights on the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And even when the new Ultimate Fighter series, and they're actually fighting that series for a belt. And it seems like there's a big difference between the people who are in contention for the belt and those that are still sort of trying to make a living out of being a full-time fighter and trying to manage all those things and get sponsors on board. And it's not big enough there yet, but it's growing. But the other thing I wanted to mention was that in the last fight, we were talking about the positions that the girls can go at. There was it was Jessica Penne, I think it was, and
sorry, is this the last fight on
Ultimate Fighter? Yeah, and she was against the fence, and I can't remember who she was fighting. The Ashlyn, the Irish lady.
Yeah, the Irish.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she had double underhooks, and as she's got double underhooks, she's wrapping her leg around and always taking her back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if that was a guy, just no way you can get hips around that far and your leg around and try and get a hook in. And it's just something like that. I just wouldn't even consider that's an option when you're fighting. And to see those things actually, have some sort of effect is kind of incredible.
Yeah. See, that's why I want to brought it back. But now on the no subs at Metamoris, there was Eddie Bravo had a little comment he put on it, and he said, it doesn't really matter if it's a good fight. It's a good fight.
Yeah.
And he's saying like when he fought Hoyler, that was the greatest fight I've seen in ages.
Yeah, that was a really good fight.
And it's a draw.
Yeah.
But he was saying it doesn't matter. Everyone knows. Everyone saw the fight. They know who won.
Yeah.
And I was glad Eddie actually could say that.
Yeah.
And the same with Jake Shields.
Yeah. Even Rory McDonald's fight, it was a good fight.
Yeah.
Went to a draw, but it was they were trying to win. Rory was doing flying arm locks or leg locks or whatever he was going for, but he wasn't there to conserve and just beat.
Yeah. And so at the end of the day, you want people that want to put on a show.
Yeah, exactly.
Barrett Yoshida and Jeff Glover.
Yeah.
Put on a show.
Brilliant.
And it's a Jeff Glover.
Exactly,
fight. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's not much that isn't entertaining about Jeff Glover.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that they've had, 1 in 3 fights gets a sub.
Yeah.
If you go back and do it again, and how many fights did you enjoy? It's probably closer to, 5 out of 6.
Exactly.
In each card.
And the other thing I was thinking that maybe they could consider is you got title fights for UFC. There's 5 rounds, so I think for at least one fight on their card, they could have a no limit where there's got to be a submission.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
because I mean the Kumite with Lloyd Irvin, that did that, and some of those fights went an hour and 20.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. That's the sport of jiu-jitsu. You like it or you don't. And you've got the other ones there. You can say, if you're not really into it, then we've got these other fights, and they're 20 minutes, so you can sort of get into it. But there are hardcore fans there who understand jiu-jitsu and understand that it takes time to set up submissions, and there's a whole different strategy when there's no time limit.
Well, you go back to the Hoyler Eddie Bravo fight.
Yeah.
And the crowd made that fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously the 2 guys in the middle weren't too bad either. But you hear them absolutely cheer when he's got an underhook, and they're screaming their heads off.
Yeah.
And then Eddie gets the half guard, and they're screaming.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yep.
It's such an intelligent crowd that really helps with it.
Yeah.
Now the other big issue out of Metamoris, commentary team.
Yeah. Well, they're still trying to find their feet and see what works best, but
Glover and Kenny Florian, brilliant.
Yeah.
They've done. Was this their 3rd one together?
I'm not sure.
Second or third.
Yes,
Yeah.
Definitely second or third, yeah.
And they added Kit in this time. Now, Kit's a very polarising figure. Personally, look, every time I've met Kit, he's been brilliant. And I've rolled with him a couple of times. I thought out of it, if you were a fan of Kit going in, you're still a fan. And if you hated Kit going in, you still hate him.
Yeah.
So that kind of doesn't really...
Yeah. But I did he did have some really good technical insights that you wouldn't normally consider unless you had been in those situations and been through those experiences and little things.
And he's fought half the guys on there.
Exactly. Plus, there's he knows a lot more about jiu-jitsu than I'll ever know, more or less. You know what I mean? So I'm always going to learn something from him watching him. And that's what I would like to have seen, a bit more of the technical insight. And I mean,
it's his first time as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we know he's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them are a little bit forced, but
Yeah.
hey, that's all right. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he cops a lot of flack too in some circles for trying to promote himself. And I'm like, well, so what?
Exactly.
You're allowed.
Yeah, that's. I mean, since when's that been a crime?
Yeah. And he's been very open about what he wants to do. He wants to get himself out there, and be it through jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
or through the movies and the little side films and stuff like that. Good, great.
And it's great for Australian jiu-jitsu as well, because we're still in its infancy here in regards to public perception of it and how it's understood. Whereas if you're still here, you talk to someone about you do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, half people are still like, huh, what? What do you do?
Yeah.
So is that like that dancing around stuff, or
Yeah.
Capoeira?
You do karate. Like,
Yeah, right.
I remember that the first time Serena, my wife, had ever, because I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a little while, but she's never seen it.
Yeah.
I've never seen me do it. And the first time she went to open mat, and I was in the car driving there. I'm like, all right, you're going to see two things. One, this isn't as violent as you think it is.
Yeah.
And two, this is way more homoerotic than you think it is.
Yeah.
And then she just couldn't understand why you're in guard, you got your legs wrapped around somebody, and then we're just talking. She's like, why don't you just stand up? I'm like, well, I'm already here.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would I stand up? This is the position I want.
Yeah.
So I reckon good on him. If Kit's getting his name out there.
Yeah. I think it's great. And the thing is, I mean, the first time you try anything, you're not any good at it. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
So it was his first crack at it, and I think, you need to. People just say, oh, she did this, but what about the good things he did? It needs to be constructive feedback, and people like that you need to keep in the system and make them grow as commentators, because it's his first time.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, the people that hated him to begin with had another excuse to hate him again.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Personally, I'm a huge fan, so doesn't concern me much.
And I've got a win over Kit, so I'm happy with that.
Why? What did you do?
I haven't told you that story.
No.
First time at comp class.
Okay.
I was rolling, starting from standing.
Yeah.
Go with Kit, and all right, what do I do? And I was a white belt, and
Oh, yeah.
he's brown. So I grab his gi, and he goes whack and puts a wrist lock on me. I'm like, "Ooh."
Okay.
So I tapped. I'm like, all right. And it wasn't until about 6 months later I realised wrist locks are illegal for white belts. That's a DQ. DQ win. So I have an 8-second DQ win over Kit, and I'm keeping it.
Well, you notch it up, and they can't take it off you then.
Yeah, well, I've said so.
There are witnesses.
Yeah, there was me. That's a good enough witness. All right, I reckon that's covered Metamoris. I was pretty happy. And look, it's done nothing to deter me from watching the next one.
Exactly. I think, just for the next one, they just got to pick their matchups a bit better.
Yeah, I did get the feeling, like, going into this one was the one I was least excited about.
Yeah, I was the same.
I thought they were a little bit one-sided.
Yeah.
Having Sakuraba on the card got me excited.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you're like...
Yeah, he's fighting Renzo Gracie at a BJJ match.
Yeah, and...
Good fucking luck.
And he's been through a lot.
Exactly.
He's fought wars.
Yeah.
I love the memories of Sakuraba fighting in Pride.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of stuff. I didn't want him to be ruined.
Yeah.
But he didn't ruin him.
Exactly.
And he said at the end he wished he could do more. And don't we all?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that's what the fans want to see anyway. They always want to see Saku and a Gracie in there.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
To sell
Anytime there's a Gracie and Sakuraba on a card, it's going to be a fan favorite.
It is funny though. The first card they had 3 Gracies or 4, I think. 3 Gracies.
Yeah.
And they've only had 1 in the last one. And 1 in the one before, yeah.
Well, it kind of seems like people are just sort of sitting and waiting to see how Crone does whenever his new fight's coming in, which it should be next month.
Well, it's meant to be in December.
Yeah. Like it was meant to be in August.
Yeah. And Gabby Garcia is meant to be on the card as well.
Yeah. But the thing is, with someone like Crone, he never looks out of shape. Like, he is always in shape.
He's a every day
type
of guys.
Just looking at him, he looks jacked.
Yeah.
And he's starting to look like Hickson, just mean, nasty, just going to fuck people up.
I want to see him once he puts the gloves on, because that's the ultimate test.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you get punched in the face, are you still a black belt?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And Hickson liked that.
Yep. That was like a Mark Hunt quote, wasn't it? Black belt's all well and good till you get punched in the face.
Yeah. There's been an old quote that's run around a lot.
Yeah.
You're a black belt. Bang! 1 punch in the face. Now you're a brown belt.
Yeah.
And it goes down from there.
Hoist saying the black belt only cover 2 inches of your ass, and it's up to you to cover the rest.
It's the old one. So on Mark Hunt then.
Yeah.
What'd you make of the fight?
Well, I mean, considering the circumstances, his first round I thought was really, really impressive.
Really impressive. He was winning.
Yeah, exactly.
He was winning the first round.
He looked slick.
Yeah,
He
he looked
slick.
on.
Yeah.
And Fabricio looked. Well, I won't say slow, but
he looked like he looked like he might have gone to a plan B and a plan C in one round.
maybe Fabricio was thinking 5 rounds from the get go.
Yeah.
But Mark Hunt wasn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he
That
never was
never on
gonna.
the card. Never going to happen.
It was the best I've seen Mark Hunt fight for a while.
Exactly. So yeah, and all credit to Fabricio. The way he set up that knee with the takedown attempts, it was just it was beautiful.
Okay, well, he's had the shot, and Mark Hunt's sprawled and stopped it. And then he's gone for the fake shot in the knee. It's beautiful.
Yeah. You can just see Mark Hunt. He's like, oh, shit. And he's like, what I'm going to do, I'm going to block this with my head.
Yeah.
He ducks his chin down, and then that's just it.
It was it. It's so sad. He was winning that round too.
Yep, exactly right.
God, and that would have been such a great story.
Wouldn't it? Because, and like, you always knew it was going to be an uphill battle, but with someone like Mark Hunt, he's a person that can do it with one punch. And they say that about a lot of people, but he's legit. He can legit just knock anyone out with one punch.
Yeah.
So you always have to give him a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
But he gave me a lot of faith in him after that first round. I thought, hey, he's really looking on here. Like, this really could be his day. And it was until that one split second.
Yeah. Who would have thought a knockout would go the other way?
Yeah, exactly right.
It's like when Gabriel Gonzaga kicked Mirko Krokop.
Yeah.
Everyone's going, this fight could end that way. Not from him.
Yeah, and even you see, I think it was Herb Dean refereeing or whoever it was, they stopped for a second and it's like, oh, shit. No, hang on a second, I got a job here.
It was... The other sad thing was Hunt would have got a belt.
Yeah.
Now he didn't want it. Yep. It's only the interim title, but it's still a belt.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he can beat Kane.
No, I don't think there's many people that could beat Kane if Kane stays healthy.
Yeah, of course.
But also, just any Australian bringing a UFC belt home is going to be great. And
it is funny. He's the Australian's going to win the belt. Well, born to a Samoan family in New Zealand, lives in Sydney. Yep, Australian. Good enough.
Yep, probably western suburbs or something as well. Yep, Australian.
Close enough.
Yep.
And Costa Zoo, same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Fights under the Russian flag and then switches Australian. Yep, we'll take him.
Yep. Mel Gibson, fuck that. He's back in New Zealand now.
Mel Gibson, born in New York.
Yep.
He can stay there.
Rupert Murdoch, nah, fuck him. He's American now.
I think the Brits hate him just as much.
Yeah, they've turned on him too now as well. But I think most people have who value independence or journalism to begin with. Full stop.
Well, he's given us Fox Sports.
Yeah, he has, and I mean, he's given us Fox News too, though.
Yeah, but nobody watches that.
No, well, I mean, I've actually started watching more Fox News because of Russell Brand than any other legit reason.
Well, the same could be said about Jon Stewart at one stage.
Yeah, that's true.
I think maybe it was a couple of years ago, I saw floating around online that Jon Stewart got more ratings than all the Fox.
Really? Wow.
He was, his show.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, quality writing.
Yeah, exactly.
Brings it in, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And a bit of sense of humour doesn't hurt either.
Yeah.
Seems to be lacking on Fox.
While we're on MMA, because we're doing a lot of fight talk here.
Yeah. Well, we've got to keep it fresh on what's been happening recently. And
so we're recording this, goes to the polls for the state.
Yeah.
I don't like politics, all the policies on Liberals or Labor or Sex Party or whatever else is going on, but I do know one thing, and that's if Labor gets in, they'll lift the cage ban.
Yes.
It's fucking stupid that we're still arguing about
Exactly right. And it's just people don't realise how uninformed they are about the situation.
Spell it out then.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, mixed martial arts in Victoria is legal. You're allowed to do it. It's done every weekend, I'm sure, but you're only allowed to do it in a boxing ring.
Yeah. So the sport itself, it's there. The same rules are there, except the field of play.
Yep, exactly right. The only difference is it's legal to do it inside the cage or a cage like octagon, like they use in UFC,
and an enclosed area.
Yeah.
And I know there's been some efforts from the UFC or other MMA organisations to not call it a cage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the only problem is, it's in a cage.
Exactly. Yeah.
One point was made that they call them cage fighters, and you don't call boxers ring fighters.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, it's just so silly that they're actively pushing that misinformation that will stop extreme violence. Like, no, you won't. You'll just make it more dangerous.
Exactly right. Because if you've ever seen the old school pride fights where they fought in a boxing ring, and for so long they were getting pushed out of the ring, and even Hickson threw someone out of the ring. And that's more dangerous falling off of the curtain of a ring than it is falling against a cage.
Even Thunderlips in Rocky 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Threw someone over the top rope. Yeah, it's just not on. It's dangerous. But it happened in Victoria, with Gustavo.
Yeah, exactly.
He was winning that fight, and a guy took a dive through the ring and hit a empty plastic water bottle, and I can't fight anymore. It's just so silly. But is so rare that one of the major parties would take a stand on something like this, almost sensibly.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of crazy that whatever other policies they've got planned aren't as important as whatever making the cage illegal or making it legal.
Oh, but it's a money decision too.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, you're not stopping mixed martial arts by banning the cage.
Yeah.
You're stopping the UFC.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're stopping the organisations that have the most responsibility in mixed martial arts. They're the ones that pay for all the drug tests. They're the ones that provide doctors and all the medical needs for all their fighters to make sure they're all taken care of. You're banning them for Victoria. So they can't come in here and set a precedence for the people who are already doing mixed martial arts here.
Yeah, it says something that the cage isn't legal, and yet they're still running mixed martial arts events.
Yeah.
It shows how much demand is there.
Exactly. And it just
it's
shows
ridiculous.
the naivety of people who are making these decisions. And the thing is, obviously the politicians, they know nothing about mixed martial arts. They've never been on the mats. They've probably never thrown a punch in their life. So you'd think...
Except Putin.
Well, that too. I mean, even Tony Abbott threatened a shirt front. I don't see shit from him.
So, yeah, you should have checked Google first.
Yeah, I think he's more a pro wrestler with those little budgie smugglers. Give him some shiny red boots and jump him off the top rope. Put him in a ring with Putin.
If he was a pro... Who's the nearest pro wrestler?
Oh, he looks like... the outfit would be Rowdy Piper all day.
Or
Big red budgie smugglers. Big red arm
he fought
pads.
in blue.
Oh, yeah.
Well, once he got out of the kill.
Yeah. Or maybe, Chemo come out with a cross.
Yeah, that suits him more.
Anyway, what are we going about?
So, yeah, the cage ban.
Cage ban, yeah.
So, Labor say they're going to change it, which is... I don't care that if they're doing it just because to be the opposite of Liberal, which is so often what it is.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's just... It's safer for the sport, and it's a great money decision.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. If they've never done mixed martial arts in their life, so you would think if you've got to make policies on anything, maybe I'll talk to the experts.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll talk to people who do this for a living.
And there's so many of them putting their hands up saying, talk to me, I'll let you know.
Yep, we'll inform you. And I mean, it says so much about the state of politics at the moment where your information is at your fingertips. You don't have to do any work whatsoever.
Google's not that difficult.
Yeah, like it's really sort of coming to my mind that being a politician is about avoiding as much facts as you can, and whatever information you've got, just avoid that like the plague.
Yeah. Well, they're in the business of being re-elected.
Yeah, and I mean, and even if you have to Google it, if you get the answer you don't like, just Google it again, or
If you want a really silly answer, there's Bing.
Well, to be honest, I'm pretty sure they're still using Hotbot on Netscape or something like that. They're that far behind.
They probably opened up a Word document and somebody told them that's the internet, like Creed. Anyway, so hopefully by the time this goes out, we'll know the answer. But, Jesus, it's just such a silly thing that it's still being argued about.
And especially if anyone who's actually been, like, for us, the only experience we had in martial arts has been Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But it's very common across all disciplines that when you actually go into a gym and you start practicing a martial art, it doesn't make you more aggressive. It makes you more disciplined. And it makes you appreciate getting your ass kicked every day.
Yeah. Exactly, and we had the UFC Fight Night, or was it Fight Night or Fight on Fox in Sydney, a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't see any riots.
No, there was nothing. There was no
fighting
fights.
there. Turns out the guys want to watch the professionals fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And
turns out when you're seeing people who are like 5'10" beat the absolute shit out of each other, you start looking, you're like, man, those guys can fuck me up. Ronda Rousey will fuck me up.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully that gets sorted out.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough fighting. Let's talk about something that's a little closer to the rest of Australia. We'll start with the footy. Now the international rules. So
yes,
after having an absolute farce of it the last couple of years, they've gone and said only all Australians can make the side.
Yeah.
Put a side together that's pretty much team of the century worthy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And in the first quarter, I think it was 25-1 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like I remember seeing, I can't remember the scores off the top of my head, but it was pitiful at halftime. Like,
and Stevie J looked like he'd been playing this game all his life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mind you, kicking around the corner is kind of his thing.
Yeah, exactly right.
Would you watch the second one?
Yeah, I'd probably give it a go, just only because of the last quarter. That's really what sort of made me give it a bit of hope. But I sort of stopped watching after half time. So
did you?
yeah, so I was watching something else on TV, but I was sort of keeping updated on my phone, and then I looked at it and I thought, hang on a second, like, they kicked two goals they kicked, I think.
Oh, there's a one own goal.
That's right,
from Nick Smith.
Yeah.
And I thought, good to see the
So I thought, it might be
grand
a
final
comeback.
forms carried through.
Might be a comeback. So I would like to see that. And I mean, sadly enough, it seems like the skill sets required for each different game just don't pair up evenly across this international rules.
It's a bastard of a sport.
Yeah.
And the way the AFL players adapted to the round ball this time is the best they've ever adapted to it.
Exactly.
That's always been the problem before.
It seemed like on the flip side to that, it was just the physicality of the Australian people because of the requirements of big bodies for that game. And
and the old pros versus amateurs and that kind of argument, which I'm sick of. Anyway, they're playing it and they're coming out.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems to be just a good recruiting mission for half the AFL. They just go across there and see what young talent the Irishman have got there.
Get the AFL to pay for the AFL.
Yeah, exactly. Bring them back over and, I don't know, get their family across when they get the first match, and that's the way they go. You got Tyconelli or someone like
that. Yeah. Oh, it was good. It was a really enjoyable game, and it was good that it was played over in Perth.
Yeah, exactly. And that ground looks sensational. I remember they were doing like a panoramic scan of the field, and they got that long bar along one of the wings where you can sit up at a bar stool.
Yeah.
At a window, it's just a big panoramic view of the whole ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't even bother buying seats,
But I mean, they filled it, and that's what you're asking for. Because
exactly.
it'd be nothing worse than having that at the MCG and having 30,000 there.
Yeah.
That's kind of boring.
Yeah.
But it was amazing to see, Joel Selwood go for a free kick, and 40,000 Western Australians appealing for the free kick for Joel Selwood.
It'll be one of the first only times that's going to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and he got it too, I think.
He got one or two, which is par for the course for him.
Yeah, and like we mentioned on Twitter, we didn't even have Gary Ablett playing. So imagine, you probably got mixed up with the Irish and got left there or something.
I think if we played Gary Ablett, that might have been just showing off.
Yeah, but we could have just rested one other player, just stick him on the bench or something.
Oh, I reckon, just swap him and Jared McVeigh in and out. They wouldn't notice.
Even know. Yeah, exactly
they
right.
Wouldn't have a clue. And Nat Nui in the ruck, how good was he?
Oh, that was just ridiculous. That was embarrassing, really.
Yeah, I don't know if he got another kick.
Yeah, but he didn't need to.
No, it was worth it. There's hardly any of the Rewalt took a good grab, but the taller players didn't really have a focus on. Not a focus. Didn't really have an impact. Except for Nat Nui in the ruck.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was thinking about with the round ball. How does it actually move through the air in regards to marking? Yeah, because I know, especially with baseballs, when you hit them up high, you've got to stand underneath them because they'll curve back underneath you. So,
they could go anywhere.
Yeah, so I was wondering if the way that the round balls will turn in the air, if it's the same where, depending on how it's kicked, it's going to move around. Well,
it's just like soccer. You can curl it in from the sides and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, especially in the field kicking, you didn't see the Australians kick to somebody to mark it very often.
Yeah.
They kicked it so that it would bounce in front of them and they could pick it up and go. Which, it was like the way the game is now anyway.
Yeah.
You play on from marks.
And just run through the lines.
Yeah, so that's what they were doing. They weren't even trying to kick it. And on the odd occasion that they did, it was either Dustin Fletcher kicking it from full back, which went straight to the Irish, or it went over their head.
Yeah,
because it's just so hard to control.
Exactly, yeah. So it seems like it's more like a junior footy approach where you got one person front and centre and run through the lines and
keep it straight.
No U-turns unless you're Stevie J.
It's almost wet weather football.
Yeah, exactly. It's the old 80s Hawthorn team where you just get it forward, keep pushing it forward, and you're going to win. If it's up your end and you're scoring, then you're going to win. Doesn't matter if you're kicking points or goals.
Yeah, exactly right. Which is good. You want to see a shootout.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's one of those games that should still be developed. They haven't got it right yet. I think there's still different things they could try.
Yeah, but what are you developing it for? Because you're not going to play it as a normal league.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was talk after the game. I think Clarkson said we want to play the next one in New York.
Yeah.
Or Boston, where there's a large Irish population.
That would be a bad idea.
I mean, yeah, but what are you selling?
Yeah, and then what next? What after that?
Yeah, because
that's a good point.
Let's say it's great. You sell out, you get 50,000 in Boston to watch this hybrid game that's only played at that time of the year.
So I suppose, it'll be funny. You start getting people who are actually interested in, you should see this game. It's like between the Australians and the Irish, and you go on YouTube and you're like,
there's
this
2 games a year.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't understand that. I mean, it's great you try and promote something, but if you're not going to play if the idea is to promote Australian rules,
Yep.
you've got to play Australian rules.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird, but I mean, maybe it's the first hook in.
Yeah.
But really, they've only just got Australia interested in it, the concept again, after 4 or 5 years of not giving a shit.
Yeah.
And baby steps.
And I mean, as far as watchability, I prefer AFL. If you're going to go all the way over to New York and put on this show and at all this expense, play AFL.
Yeah.
You know? And especially where they're used to those hard-hitting contact sports, they've got NFL there, and even they're becoming more aware of rugby and things like that. Especially with the concussions that's going on in the NFL. I know there's been coaches in college level who started employing a rugby style of tackle, so that you hit him with your shoulders and not head first.
Yeah. And there's been heaps of calls for American football to bring back the leather helmets and that kind of stuff. They're finding out that the more you pad up, it just means they're going to go bang,
Exactly
bang,
right.
bang.
You hit harder,
Yeah, and that you got a helmet on, but your little brain's still rattling around in that skull.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily what's impacting the outside of your brain. It's what the shock of your brain rolling around inside your skull.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's doing the damage.
It's all that jelly in there. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
what you put on
exactly.
the outside.
And I mean, and the results from the class action that was against the NFL were pretty astounding, where they found kids 16 years old having like dark spots in their brain, front of the brain, and then they got that brain bank where NFL players who are dying can donate their brain to this.
It's not just NFL players. I mean, there's been I know Mick Foley's
really?
he's already committed.
Okay, yep.
And I want to say Chris Nowinski, but I can't remember if that's the right name. One of the wrestlers who retired really young because he had a few too many concussions.
Okay.
He's done a lot of work with it, and raising awareness and charity and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's every sport. They're all looking at it.
And I still remember playing under 13s football when you get knocked out with a head clash or something, and you just got sent to the back pocket. So you did way to go.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, I still one of our players. He got knocked out in the grand final. I think you would remember this as well, where he stood up to take his free kick, and as he's running to take it, he's just kicked the ground, fallen arse over, and somehow he stabbed it straight to the full forward, like at a 90-degree angle, right on the chest. It was fucking hilarious. He just fallen as the face full of dirt. And he sort of got up and sort of tried to trundle off, and then the coach has got, I think it was Phil Green was the coach, I reckon. Yeah. He got, hang on, come back here, mate. Yeah, you have a rest.
Have a rest, son.
Yeah. And I remember talking to him afterwards, and he actually thought he was at the big day out. That's what he thought he was, rocking out. Woo!
To be fair, I think he thought he was at the big day out most days.
This is true. And, I mean, yeah, he probably was flying there and back.
Yeah. So, sticking with footy, have you seen any of the draft that was on last night? Have you checked out the Richmond players?
I'm a bit scared to check out Richmond players in the draft, so I followed it on Twitter, and then I'll just let all the fans tell me how good they are or how shit they are.
I think half your picks you kept to your 5'10" and under.
Yeah, that's what you want. I hate tall people. I tell you what.
Why would you want tall people?
I'd hate to have someone to be able to back up Marriage, or at least a young ruckman who's tall that Marriage could teach how to do the job properly. That'd be terrible for us.
I tell you what though, the big winner is Melbourne.
Yeah, apparently.
Jeez, they had Saints have got number 1 pick, and they've got. Do you go Petrarca or who the number 1 pick was?
Yeah, because the one that everyone thought was going to be number 1, well, it was a pretty mixed bag on who believes who was going to get number 1 and not. But
I think Petrarca was the best midfielder in there.
Yeah,
big body midfielder, ready to play. You could probably play. He'll play in 2015.
Yeah.
Whereas most draft picks don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or do you go for the key forward? I want to say Martin.
I can't remember who it is, but Saints get the first pick, and they did well to not sort of trade,
not fuck it up,
not trade it out. Yeah, exactly. But I think they've just got a lot more problems than that to sort of worry about at the moment, and they're going to.
They've been hoarding draft picks for the last couple of years. I mean, getting rid of Ben McAvoy to get a pick 20, and they got, I think Dunstan with that pick,
something like that. Yeah,
and he's a gun.
Yeah, and they picked up. Do they still have Malera playing for him, or did he?
Malera?
Yeah.
No, he's
left. Out playing at Glenelg or something now, isn't he?
Yeah. He walked out because he wanted to go back to Adelaide.
Yeah,
couldn't get a trade to either club, so I think he's playing in the SANFL.
Yeah,
number 1 pick, Paddy McCartan.
God,
why couldn't I remember that name?
Yeah.
So anyway, back to it. Saints have picked up Paddy McCartan, who's a ruck / forward. Obviously he's going to sit under Rewalt for another couple of years.
Yeah.
Which means the Demons, who have traded, James Frawley, or not traded James Frawley, lost James Frawley to free agency, picks 2 and 3, get Brayshaw and Petraka.
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly. And if you can't make like a solid foundation to set this club on the right path from what they're doing now, then I mean I don't know what you need to do.
They're the two best midfielders. They're the two best midfielders out of the draft.
Yep.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
The only problem is they've done that before.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And it didn't quite work
Yeah.
out, but surely this time.
Just don't make one of them captain.
Yeah. Not next year anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, you put those two, and then you got Viney.
Yeah.
Who is an absolute gun.
Exactly. Yeah.
St Kilda going McCartan couldn't have worked out better for Melbourne. Because they don't need McCartan.
Yeah.
They've got Hogan, who everyone tells me is going to be an absolute gun.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him yet, but they've got that sorted.
Yeah, and the thing is, they've got experienced players like Nathan Jones, who's a gun midfielder. And I mean, you just stick those young kids around him, and they're going to learn stuff.
You hope so. It's good that they've finally given Jones a captaincy. Ridiculous.
I mean, he's going to be a gun in pretty much any team in the AFL. You know what I mean?
And you know, over the last couple of years, he'd probably be the only one in Melbourne who would get a game in any other team.
Yep. Yeah.
Now they're starting to come good. I mean, they had a couple of boring games again this year and a couple of real embarrassing outs. But
some disappointing efforts. But I mean, I think they've fixed a lot of problems they did have, and obviously Paul Roos going there didn't hurt at all. You know, he knows a thing or two about running a footy club.
Just give them hope.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, geez, they've been through some stuff.
And the worst thing is just don't make any more dumbass decisions. I think that's what Paul Roos is there to do. Right? Don't fuck this up.
Yeah. So the decisions they've made then, Melbourne, to try and keep on board, they didn't match Frawley purely because they wanted picks 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I think it's worked out.
Yeah.
You got to be happy with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
The next one is who's their next coach, and they've got Simon Goodwin.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, he's been around. He's a great player.
Yep.
Great captain. And that's a good start. I think players that you respect their games tend to turn out to be better coaches.
Yeah.
That doesn't always work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a golden rule, but it's not a rule of thumb, I should say. But
it'll be interesting. I mean,
it did work out with Danny Frawley. So
you respected Danny Frawley.
Oh, great guy, shit house coach. And now he's gone back to St Kilda, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a backman coach at St Kilda.
It's a golden fist down there then.
Yeah, he was a Hawthorn coach for 2.5 minutes. You know, and he had
that's right.
Yeah, golden fists.
Yeah,
coming out of their ass down there. I thought he would have jumped at it.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's gone for the the go home factor.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you could do worse than having someone like Danny Frawley around your club, but I mean, I wouldn't put him in charge of the whole squad. That's for sure.
No, and they're not.
Yeah,
which is good. But Goodwin, isn't it funny how assistant coaches get reputations?
Yeah.
And obviously some of it comes through the media, but amongst the general mug punters, which consider myself part of that.
Yeah, I'm definitely into that group.
But it's funny how when someone comes up, you go, "Oh yeah, yep. He's the next coach." Well, he's done well down at Geelong.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when he was first going for the Essendon coach, it was the same time that Richmond were coaching job was available, and we were looking at getting Hardwick then. Yeah. And I always thought I was in that category. I was like, oh, Matthew Knights, good player. I thought he had a good head on his shoulders, and he was a good coach, but he just promised way too much for the squad that did not deliver.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, but it's another one of those. We'll sign him, give him 2 years bonus, and then kill him. Yeah, which is a bit funny, but
and I'm glad that we end up with Hardwick because he's done an excellent job with that squad.
Yeah, Hardwick was unlucky not to get the Essendon.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of, you imagine what he would have done with that squad instead of Knights, and would they still got hurt there, and what sort of trouble would they be through with this or started deal, which we're not really going to touch because
not
it's done to
talking about
death.
it. Not talking about it. Not even touching it. Couldn't care less.
No. And I mean, where'd they finish that year? 7th or 8th?
Which year?
They got cancelled.
Oh, the first one, 6th.
Something like that. I mean, if you're cheating, taking drugs, and only finish 6th.
Yeah, you're not cheating.
Your cheater sucks, and so is your performance coach.
But we're not talking about that.
No, yeah.
Not talking about that. So, I mean, the rest of the draft, you look at it and you go, oh, yeah, it's so hard. Like, with Australian, because we don't have the collegiate system that American sports have, that gets prime time coverage.
Exactly.
And that. But it is amazing that how well run it was on Fox, and then I know Dad was watching it and on Fox, and then had the AFL website up on the iPad.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as somebody gets picked, they're up on it's up on the AFL website.
Yeah.
It comes up with their little profile and their highlight reel. That's brilliant.
Speaking of which, the young lad Bokhurst, I think it was, who went to Carlton.
Oh, the Twitter gaff.
Oh my God.
But that's great.
Yeah.
You know what's sad is now he's going to get into the system and he's going to speak to their media manager.
Yeah.
And they'll have training for them all, and he's now going to give us, it's a team effort. It's 1 week at a time. We stuck to our structures.
You're gonna get pumped out the same production line that they'll do, and which just sucks. But for something like that, I think it's probably not a bad way for your initiation to a club, because it's like when you go to college and they have hazing, you know what I mean? It's kind of making fun of them, but it gives you that sort of sense of fun and that sort of mentality where
you guarantee
you can muck around.
First day in, somebody's going to mention it.
It's going to be the first thing that gets mentioned to him, full stop, I reckon. You wouldn't have been surprised if Mick came up and just took the absolute piss out of him, like pretend to be serious.
No, I'd be surprised if Mick did it, but if I was anybody at Carlton, I'd be printing that out, A4s, in his locker. Here's your new, which one of us do you reckon shouldn't be here, mate?
Or if I was Mick, at the end of each huddle where he gives like a little speech or something, just get his approval from it. Like, how was that, sir?
Is that okay? Can I stay?
Right, yeah.
You got to put it up everywhere.
Or if Mick just stands there and goes, "All right, I've decided. Everyone, nah, fuck off.
He's right.
You're out. Yep.
Make him captain. Fuck him."
But even when we're talking about the draft and that, they even televised the combines on Fox Sports now as well. And then the thing is,
what else are they going to show on Fox Footy during the
offseason? Exactly. But we're talking about, we don't have like collegiate sports like they do in America, where you can sort of screen plays and that sort of thing. So you've only got like the minor leagues of football, but even then it's still hard to see how a player may develop through them. And even with combines, when you've got international players, for someone, it's just not a very strict way of telling how good they're going to turn out based on athleticism. Because you imagine thinking like someone, I don't know how it went, but what Gary Ablett would have done compared to those people through those sort of those tests. And
he was playing down there. He was a good player, but when he was going through obviously he was father-son, so he didn't go into the draft proper. But I don't think he might have been top 20. I don't know, like the metric testing with like height, jump, he'd be
sprint.
useless.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then you put him in a Guernsey and lace up his boots, and it's phenomenal.
Which is great, because there was a period there, sort of 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where Koutafidis was, one of the best players in the competition. And then Trent Crode was, the next great thing, where they were just like, let's get athletes and make them footballers.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of good to see guys like Sam Mitchell.
Exactly.
Too slow, too small. It's just, but he can kick 50 metres on either boot.
And
hit a target.
It looks like someone who you'd see, in fluoro vests, fixing your car or something like that on the side of the street.
It's just a footballer.
Yeah, just hard nosed and the old school Glenn Archer types of people. Yeah, you're either going to be an AFL player or in jail, something like that.
But just a footballer, something with that nous.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just there's still a place for that.
Yeah. And I think it says a lot about the things that you can't test for, that you can't put a number 2. It's that attitude. And
it's a draft. It's going to be a bit of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
There's the guys that are the sure things that never turn out, and then there's the pick 78 who goes on to win Brownlows. And
I think the only real thing that you can bank on from those is that if you got someone that's 220 centimeters and can jump, 10 feet tall, they're going to be a valuable asset to your team.
Yeah, North Melbourne disagrees with you.
That's true, actually. I didn't think about that.
We were arguing about that today, because I was pretty sure that Majak is signed on again for 2015, and somebody else was saying that he got delisted, but no, he's signed on again, but it'll be his 6th year in the system, and he's still not there. I mean, he's 4th in line for the ruck job.
Yeah, he'd be about that.
And Benny Brown's just had his debut season. And killed it. Yeah.
Plus, he's got that little cult following just because he's such a strange-looking bastard.
I said it the first time I saw him. He looked like the kind of guy that would spend his first footy paycheck on Slurpees.
Or Archie comics or something like that.
Yeah. But he's a September specialist now.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, and those things, people remember those games. And
blood oath they do.
Yeah, and that's ones that get you signed for big dollars and big interest from other teams as well.
I mean, I was watching it and I got no vested interest in either team. The North Essendon final and the North Geelong final. Well, okay, I'm a little vested there. I don't mind seeing Geelong get beaten. They were some of the best games of the year.
Yeah, they were.
And see him stand up. But, so it goes... even that size of a player,
Yeah.
that amount of time in the system still bust.
Yep. And they're still getting that American guy over. Was he be in the next draft or something like that?
I think he signed on as an international rookie.
Okay.
There's two.
Yep.
There's one at Collingwood and there's one at North.
Yep.
I think it's Mason Cox at Collingwood.
Yeah.
Can't remember the North.
There was one guy off of the recruit, right?
Yeah.
And he was really, really tall, useless as fuck.
Yeah.
But really, really tall, and so everyone was interested in him.
Yeah.
And so people are still trying to make footballers out of people who are basketballers, more or less.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that position, isn't it? Because you can't teach somebody to be 7 foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out either.
And I mean, it's also a possibility that if someone's got a ruck that is so dominant, then maybe it's best just to have an extra run bowler.
Yeah. I mean, you have a look at the Hawks who've done it last couple of years.
Yeah.
Average ruckman.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Sandilands is at the end of the day still 7 foot, and
Yeah.
you've got to plan around Sandilands.
Yeah.
In the 13 grand final, it was because Crowley was tagging Mitchell. Mitchell was like, "Well, I'll get in and ruin Sandilands' taps."
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was their ruck setup was right. What do we do with Sandilands?
Yeah. Exactly.
Takes it out. But yeah, end of the day, the draft is. In America they call it the draft lottery because the order's picked by a lottery, but that's not where the lottery really is. You just don't know what you're getting.
You don't know what you're up with. Yeah.
End of the day, you get a you almost draft on attitude as much as potential.
Exactly.
Because you can turn them into something.
Yeah, and also the value for tradability, because
the GWS method.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
right.
we're going to lose them.
They're good. Just get them, and then we'll figure the rest out later. We'll just wing it.
Yeah.
We got this bit like shit. Patton got injured. Fuck. He's the only one to keep.
Oh, yeah. I saw on social media they showed that Patton's up and running again.
Really?
Because Jesus, he looked like he could be an absolute monster.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he's done his knee again.
Yep. And the thing is, at the end of the day, what is he, like 20, 21 years old? Or
about that.
Fuck all.
Yeah.
And your knee's done, You've theoretically got another 60 years of life.
Yeah.
You want to have kids, you want to run around with them, you want to play with them, you want to do anything like that, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
There's got to be a limit where you go, you know what?
Yeah.
Who was it this year that retired and goes, just football wasn't, my body's not built for it.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, and especially with big man who it takes a toll on your body, jumping and running and doing all sorts of things.
100 kegs, that's a lot of weight on it.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, obviously I'm no physician, I don't know what sort of shape his body's in, but you would think that you're still developing into your body,
still growing,
being that tall at that age. And your body's still learning how to handle, just that mass and that, sudden onset.
I mean, especially an athlete, you don't reach physical maturity until 24, 25, or whatever. Maybe even more for the bigger guys.
Yeah.
So there's still some growing there and getting used to being a professional athlete.
Exactly.
It's just such a shame.
Yeah.
And after they lost Boyd.
Yeah, exactly.
Geez, the only good thing to come out of that, I reckon, well, not the only good thing because players have changed and they can do what they like, but GWS have a rivalry now.
Yeah, don't they?
And the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
I think they play in round 2 next year or something like that.
Yeah.
That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope they promote the shit out of it.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you can tap into some of the fanaticism from the western suburbs in regards to what they have with soccer and everything, you know what I mean? There's some of the most passionate supporters in the country. If you can just tap into some of them and get them interested in football and the rivalry is a way to do it.
Rivalry is a way to do it.
Yeah.
It's us versus them.
Exactly.
Where they've had
polarizing.
Yeah, and it's now that it's come along at the right time for them too, because the last 3 or 4 years they've just been all right. Let's not get flogged.
Yeah, exactly.
Put on a good show, guys.
Yeah.
But last year they beat the Swans. They've done something. They're starting to do it.
Yeah.
And now they've got somebody else they want to see them play.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's those games where a season up to that point.
Yeah.
It's that when that game's on, your players switch on. They give it an extra little bit of effort.
Yeah, you know it. In Melbourne when Essendon play Collingwood.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's Anzac Day. It's a big one. It's the showdown in SA. It doesn't matter where they are on the ladder. This one, you get ready for this one.
Yeah,
it's the week before they're like, okay, let's get through this game. We got the big one next week.
Yeah, exactly right.
Now they've got something. They've got a marquee they can sell.
Yeah.
And it not only is it great that the two teams that need a marquee match have got it in Bulldogs and GWS. They're at this sort of similar development stages.
Yeah.
Bulldogs may be a little bit ahead. So it's it's a fair matchup too.
Yeah, and it's one that even if you're both having shit seasons and the rest of your games are irrelevant, more or less, you've got this one game of relevance.
You've got something, yeah.
It's going to have something where you're going to have fans in seats wanting to watch that game just to get something out of your season.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, when you both end up going well, then those games are just even more important.
Yeah, and it's the rivalry starts now,
Yep.
and then in 2 years' time, maybe they play finals against each other, and then
Exactly.
it's something that they'll buy DVDs on.
Yeah, and then you've got the Hawthorn and Geelong where it
doesn't matter
sometimes the skills are irrelevant. It's the mind games that go on and what sort of psychological state you're in. Are you ready? Are you up for this game?
It was even tonight when we were watching the A League
Yeah.
before the game. They were showing 10 years of the A League and that.
The Melbourne,
They were saying to try and get a league up, you need those rivalries, and they were
Yeah.
showing the best rivalries. Now they've got something there, which is really important because GWS is going to struggle.
Yeah, and the thing is, especially with the codes of like soccer and AFL, they can definitely coexist because,
Of course, they can.
especially Melbourne's the prime example. We took rugby, which wasn't traditionally a Victorian sport, and we embraced it, but it hasn't affected any other sports. And
No, and the rugby guys are happy to socialise with
Yeah.
the AFL guys,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you, 90% of the AFL players that live in Melbourne are Storm fans.
Yeah, exactly. And even Collingwood had that cross promotion where if you bought I think it was a Collingwood, I wasn't sure it was a membership or just for certain matches where you'd get a half price ticket or you got a group ticket for
And I
both,
think
and
you
you'd
can
go
watch.
across the road and then watch the Storm.
'Cause
Great idea.
If both stadiums are right next door to each other, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think it's a great idea. Like, I don't know anything about rugby, but I still would love to go see a Storm game. I haven't been to the new Amy Park Stadium yet, but I'd love to go there and check it out because I don't know much about the game, but it looks like very fun to go into those sort of rivalries,
Yeah, and Storm have got their boutique stadium that they're able to sell well, and they've had results.
Yeah, exactly.
And that always helps.
Yeah, and some dodgy accounting doesn't hurt either, but you can take that.
Geez, you thought Carlton were bad.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Storm build a whole little room dedicated to dodgy bookkeeping? I'm pretty sure.
I think they have buildings dedicated.
I think you just like slid out the Bible and the whole shelf spun around and away you go through the back door.
All right, you're saying you don't know much about rugby. Like I know a little bit because I've lived
Yeah.
in Sydney for 10 years. I'll tell you something interesting. A good friend of mine, lifelong Manly Sea Eagles supporter.
Yep.
And loves his rugby. This year, Manly have just signed Willie Mason.
Right.
For I think Willie Mason's trying to collect the whole set of Guernseys for each side that he's playing for. So he always said, if Willie Mason comes to Manly, that's it, I'm done.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
He reckons he's not following NRL.
Not just Manly, like
Well,
the
he can't-
whole code.
No, he can't follow another side.
Yeah, that's what I
He
thought.
can't find another team, so he goes, what do I do?
Yep.
I'm not watching. So it'd be interesting to see if he follows through with it.
Yeah.
I've told him, we're a happy team down at Hawthorn. We welcome you with open arms, but he reckons he might go to GWS games next year.
Oh, good on him. Well, I mean,
I can't see him doing it.
yeah. So, you go watch one and be like, fuck this.
Especially when he's got no idea what's going on. But
Yeah.
that passionate that he doesn't want Willie Mason there.
Wow.
You
And that brings up the point. When do you think it is okay to change teams?
Never.
Like, well, the one thing I thought is that, let's say if you lived in Tasmania and you were going for the Crows or something like that, and then a Tasmanian team started off.
Well, there was plenty of people, I know in our hometown who were Collingwood supporters that when Port Adelaide joined, they switched over.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a transition.
There was even Ricky Sweet, who played for Port Adelaide,
Yep.
back in the Sandford days,
Yeah.
who lifelong Collingwood supporter. And I remember that coming in and he goes, yep, I've got a teal stripe now. Change it. So, if it's a new team that's come in, or if they offer you $10 million over 9 years, that's fine.
Yep.
Change teams, but otherwise you can't.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's one of those things where even when choosing the team, like I've been going through this since we're starting this podcast to, we've got to pick sides. That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
we have
of course
to
you do.
invest interest.
You have to be invested.
And I've never picked an EPL side, even though I love watching an EPL, especially working in a casino, late nights, working night shift. There was always EPL on, and I'll watch any sport that's live.
Yeah, of course.
Within reason, most of them. And so I need to pick a side, but
Do-
you
I'll-
don't want to pick a side that's good. You want to pick a side that's shit,
That's-
but just above relegation.
It's very funny because that's how I picked a side.
Yeah.
Because I was working at Coles, and there's a lot of pommies that work at Coles.
Yeah.
And they're all really passionate about it, especially one person who was so passionate, Liverpool.
Yep.
Now, I had to pick a side.
Yep.
'Cause you've got to have a vested
Yep.
interest. If I was going to pick any side, it would have been Liverpool.
Yep.
Because back in the day, we used to watch on the ABC, and Ian Rush was running around.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think they showed the most Liverpool games.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. But I can't pick Liverpool because he's got Liverpool.
That's exactly the theory that I went with.
Yeah, if I pick Liverpool, what am I going to have a go at him
Yeah,
about?
exactly.
So I picked West Brom because they were sitting 20th at the time.
Yep. And I
and-
believe they still might be.
No, they're mid-table now.
Are they?
But that year they were sitting 20th. I thought, well, I can't be accused of picking,
Yeah.
cherry picking.
Yep.
And then I put $10 on them to finish dead last, and they did. But I picked West Brom because do you know why I picked West Brom?
I believe I do.
What is it?
I believe because it's something to do with Hawthorn, but I don't know
Their
what it is.
The home ground's called the Hawthorns.
That's right, the Hawthorns.
And I checked on Wikipedia. I think in 1896 they wore brown and gold stripes.
There you go.
I didn't know that at the time, but
Well, it's funny because
so have you picked a side yet?
well, yes, I was out with having some beers with actually one of our second cousin's brother-in-law, and he's an English lad, and he was there with a couple other English lads.
So
and
close then. Second cousin's brother.
We're from a small town, you know what I mean? Yeah, anyway, English lad that married my second cousin's.
Yep.
Yeah, that one. And I was telling him, I said, look, I've got to pick an EPL side because, and I had this whole conversation with him. I don't want to pick a good side. I don't want to pick Liverpool because everyone I know goes to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And it's just a foreign concept going for the same team as your mates. So I'm just not used to it. So I just couldn't do it. And the thing is, I know more about Liverpool than any other team because they're the only games that I've watched.
I know nothing about West Brom. I couldn't tell you one player.
Yeah. And so I go to him like, I want to pick someone that's kind of average. I'm like, who do you go for? West Brom. So I'm like, all right, where are you? Oh, I think we're one above relegation. That's my side.
So you pick West Brom?
I pick West Brom, yeah.
Oh, well, that's fucked up.
I know, but that's what today I was reading through Twitter, and they had something about the Hawthorns. It was on the West Brom Twitter handle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, the Hawthorns, hang on. Fuck, that's what Heath goes for.
Yep.
I'm like, oh,
That's
shit.
the reason.
So now I'm like back to square one because I don't want to have the same one as you either. So if there's a...
But if you've picked a side, you can't change.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, and...
What do you do?
Yeah, that's it. Well,
it's West Brom's now.
that's it.
We'll have to try and figure out some players.
And what happens if they get relegated? Do we have to pick another team that's in the
No,
league?
that's the other mistake I made when I was at Coles because I said to the next person, I said, so who's your EPL team? And he goes, pfft. He looked at me like I was stupid.
Yeah.
So I found out, no, that's not what you do. You don't have an EPL team. You have a team.
Okay.
Because I think one of the guys, his team was Luton Town, and they were
those
fourth
guys.
league, which is, I think, semi-professional even.
Yeah. They play on Wednesday afternoons.
Yeah. I think, the subs have to play linesmen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You have to bring a scorer, otherwise you forfeit like the old days.
Like basketball.
Yeah.
I tell you what, my team never lost when I was scorer.
Yep.
Not until they got the scoreboards on.
Never got in foul trouble either.
That's just the way it was.
Yeah.
So West Brom's it then.
Yeah, so I've had to choose West Brom. Which, so we're on the subject of soccer. We had friendly versus Japan recently.
Yep.
And I saw on Twitter, I mean, we try and have this rivalry with Japan, which we do. But the Japanese are just so damn nice.
It's too nice.
They're too nice. You see the banner which I had, which,
let's continue this friendly rivalry.
Yeah. Come on, Australia and Japan.
I saw something recently. There was a Japanese side touring, baseball side touring America, and they showed a photo of the Japanese dugout after the game and the American dugout.
Yep.
In America, there's crap everywhere and chewing tobacco, spat and cups. The Japanese had cleaned theirs.
Just spotless. Yep.
It's just what they do.
Just done, yeah.
And I've seen photos of the fans.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They just clean up as they go.
Yeah, which makes sense. I think I saw something online where they actually invented a machine where you'd pay for your tram and train tickets with
litter
bottles, litter, where you'd put it through there and it'd count it.
Yeah, good idea.
It's a good idea, yeah. But I would have thought in Japan there probably wouldn't be that much litter. But
no, they've got vending machines.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Bloody everything. So why
that's
not?
true.
Do you watch the game?
I did watch the game, and the first half we played very well. We played good. Back line's held up, but we're still consistently getting beat at the far post. And even tonight we watched Adelaide versus
Melbourne Victory.
It was 2 goals scored that just unmarked the back post. Should have been 3 to can't remember who it was. Missed an absolute sitter at the back post, but then he backed it up maybe 5 minutes later and ended up putting it in the back of the net.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember it now. He was about 3 meters out and he kicked it sideways.
Yeah, and so for the Japan game, we did play well for the first half, and then the second half our back line just sort of fell away, and we didn't have like a full strength squad, but we still showed promise. And then Timmy comes on and for 15 minutes or something, scores a header as he does, and gives us a bit of hope. But I mean, there's not much bad you can say about Timmy Cowell and the stuff he does for Australia. If that man ever has to buy another beer in Australia ever again, then it's a shame. It'd be a travesty.
Is he with the Red Bull team?
Yeah,
he's still playing there.
Still playing for the Red Bulls, but apparently they had a little bit of controversy where it's in their playoffs at the moment.
Yep.
And they're like, you're not going to play friendly. He said, look, Australia comes first. That's non-negotiable.
I'll tell you what, if there's any way to get yourself endeared with the Australian public,
exactly.
That's the way to do it.
Exactly right. And the fact that every time he pulls on the Australian strip, he gives it 110%. And even when he got red carded in the World Cup and missed the last one, he said, look, that's the way I play football.
Yeah.
I'll always give 100%.
And knowing that he wouldn't be playing another World Cup.
Yep, missed out on last game, but he said that no regrets, that's the way I play. And that's the sort of the brand of football that Australia loves.
Is it best to come out of here, you reckon? Close.
He'd have to go close, yeah. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be the one person to ask that. I wouldn't know about the history. I'm only sort of in my time that I players that I know, but definitely from what I've seen, he would be up there, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I mean, his results speak for himself. Just look at what he's done. And ever since a little kid as well. And just the type of person that he presents himself as and would be, where he's loyal,
Yeah.
and always gives whatever he can for the kids. And I've never met, well, not that I've met him, but I've never seen someone do so much for the fans.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't matter what it is.
Do you reckon he'll retire in the A-League?
I think he will. I think he'll come back and... It all depends. It all depends. If he can stay fit and healthy and be at the top level, I think I think he might come back here, but he'll definitely stay in the system and do a lot to promote Australian football and get it up to speed. But the thing is, he can do more for that, probably overseas, playing what he's doing and open up those sort of avenues for Australian players and things like that.
Because you think when Harry Kewell came back, it was a great promotion for him and all that kind of stuff, and then it kind of petered out and almost got embarrassing.
Yeah.
But he'd done his job.
Yeah. And we do have lots of young talent coming through. We've got lots of international players playing overseas, and they're doing very, very well.
Got Josh Kennedy.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Which is a shame because we've got too many Josh Kennedys as it is.
yeah. Maybe we'll give him a go at AFL, a more fucked up kicking style or something.
I'm surprised Richmond didn't draft him.
Yeah, well, I mean, he probably would have been too useful for us, I reckon.
He is pretty. I think he's 6 feet too.
Shit, yeah, no, we don't want to talk people. And the only other thing we've got that's happened recently is, Formula 1 season wrapped up, but I'm going to plan to do a Formula 1 specific podcast. Formula 1 is one of my favourite sports, and I always follow it in the off season as well with the technical developments of the cars and the
engineering side of it.
Engineering side, yeah, because the thing with Formula 1 these days, with the rate of technical development, and it's two different races. There's one in the off season where it's all about the manufacturers, and that's where the Constructors' Championship is really won or lost, that and their in-season development. But it's a side that just the casual fan never would even know exists, or wouldn't get into, or wouldn't even know, probably not even that interested in. So I'm going to follow that and try and do a wrap-up of that, probably every month or so, just for those people who are interested in Formula 1 and maybe garner more interest in it and have people understand just the multi-facets of it.
Yeah, we'll have a Formula 1 specific podcast up within the next week.
Yeah, so basically it'll be a wrap-up of the season with Lewis winning and lots of the movements that are going along. There's been lots of technical expertise movements in regards to aerodynamics and team principles and things like that, even driver movements. So I want to sort of aim it at people who are sort of just getting into Formula 1 and are sort of interested in people who already understand the technical aspects and sort of give them...
like the minutiae of it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, but I'm always open to feedback and advice on whatever people want to say they'd rather hear.
Which is good, because I know nothing about Formula 1.
Yep.
So I'll play the Carl Pilkington.
Yep.
I heard somebody once they were talking about fashion and how the ridiculous things they wear on New York Fashion Week and something like that. And they said it's like Formula 1. We're seeing how far we can go.
Yeah.
These aren't to be worn every day.
Yeah.
It's just like the Formula One cars. They're not to be driven around every day,
Yeah.
but it's to see what can we do.
Yeah, exactly. What's actually possible, and I mean now it's more like sort of restricting what's possible because we know what we can do. Like, hang on a second.
We know what we can do. We can kill somebody.
Yeah, that's a bit too crazy. I don't think that even things like they have ground effect cars where they said the G forces you'd pull around corners is just too much for this body to handle. You just can't do that.
Yeah,
you're passing out. And so yeah, and the funny thing was I remember reading an article about Bernie Ecclestone trying to rein in the media passes they give out to F1 paddocks, because apparently all you really need to do was start a website and they'd actually give you a media pass to the Formula 1 events.
Really?
Yeah. So he's going, all these top networks and that, they pay probably millions of dollars for rights to show Formula 1. And
see, I've been on the other side. I've been at one of the many companies I've worked for.
Yep.
Was a sponsor, and to get something out of the racetrack was impossible. We said, okay, well, what about if we do it? They go, no, you can't take any footage, any vision, any sound.
Wow.
So it was that hard. So to hear that you can get a media pass, or you could get a media pass really easy.
Yeah.
We should have gone that route.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. It's not a definite that Bernie's taken over because he's only the commercial rights holder. So I'm not sure if it's Formula 1 management who handle those sorts of things, but there was a department who was in charge of that, and apparently they were pretty liberal with what they considered media. So I'm sort of hoping that they still, they say, hang on a second, no, we're doing all right here, we know what we're doing, and they hold on to it, and then maybe we'll get into Formula 1 in Melbourne.
It'd be great to see a media pass with clicking balls on it.
Yes, exactly right.
Yes, we're here. Yes, Channel 9, clicking balls, that's us. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, there was actually one of the I think it was technical developer of Williams, or one of the head guys there, Sam Michael, his name is. He's actually Australian. He's retired this year and he's moving back to Australia. So something like that, if we get them on the podcast or have their expertise, we sort of hitch along with them and see if we can work our way into a pit garage or something like that.
We can corner him.
Yeah, and also there was my girlfriend was actually telling me this. She's into MotoGP and Formula 1, not as much, but she still likes that. There was a lady who worked might have been an aerodynamicist or something for the Williams F1 team, and so she was flying around the world working for Williams, living that sort of life.
Yeah.
And then one day she decided she didn't want to do that anymore. She wanted to become a pastry chef. So she stayed in France for a while and learned how to be a pastry chef.
I guess once you've earned the quid,
yeah,
you can do what you like.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, no, fuck that. I just want to learn how to make pastries, not really for me. And so now she moved to Melbourne and she opened up this little bakery in the suburbs. It might be Caulfield or somewhere around that area. I think it's called Loon, and it's a small little, like, you might fit 10 people in there. Little cafe in the suburban area, and they sell cronuts.
Oh, they do the cronuts.
Yeah.
I'll find out what it is. I'll put the link on the website.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Loon or something like that. And me and my girlfriend have been going there trying to get one just about every weekend, but neither of us are early wake up. Like, you have to get there like 7 a.m. and line up, and once they're sold out, then that's it. They're done.
Really? And
there's a limit of 4 per person, and apparently they are just incredible. So apparently it's like a croissant that's shaped like a donut.
I've heard of the cronuts of that, but I've only heard it because of the papers going, isn't this ridiculous?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a huge fan of donuts, and donuts and ice cream are my 2 weaknesses, so that's right up my alley. But I just think it's amazing that someone's had that sort of expertise in something that not many people get to do, and aerodynamics or whatever it was, and then you go, nah, fuck that.
And then follow the passion.
Yeah, exactly. And especially traveling across Europe, she's probably been to this one bakery in France or something over time and going, this is fucking delicious. This is so amazing. And then one day she's going, fuck this shit, man. I'm sick of dealing with all these guys, all these fuckheads. I'm going to go and I'm just going to make stuff in a place like Melbourne and live my life that way.
Well, that's what we're going to do eventually, do our buffalo wings and,
exactly.
and ribs joint.
Yep, that's it.
Just we'll get the aerodynamics down first.
Yeah.
Once I figure that out.
Once I've figured out advanced rocketry, then I'll come back and...
I'll settle for standard rocketry. Doesn't need to be advanced.
Well, that's actually one other theory I had where if I'm dead, I don't want to be buried or anything. I just want to think, in my lifetime, I can figure out how to send a rocket just one direction in space. Just strap me into that sucker, put me inside it, and just go one direction.
I'm pretty sure you can pay someone to do it.
Like, but I just don't speak Russian, though.
I'm pretty certain that there's, you can pay like $500 and they'll strap you and throw it off and, blast it in the air.
Stick you in the nose.
Who knows where it ends up?
Yeah, I don't care where it ends up. I just don't want to come back. I just wanted to go straight in one
I'll
direction.
give you a tip, mate. You're not coming back, regardless.
So I was thinking maybe if you're a little bit lunatic, you could say, actually, I'm still alive, but I'm ready to go. All right?
Yeah,
Strap
there's
me
people
in.
that do
Away you
that.
go.
They're called astronauts.
Yeah, well, that's the other funny thing. You hear about like Ebola and these sorts of outbreaks, which is just terrorizing the Earth or nuclear destruction. And I was thinking, what would happen to people on the International Space Station? Imagine having that seat to that show going, everything all right down there, guys?
Houston, do you have a
Oh,
problem?
shit. Oh, shit.
I reckon that's how The Walking Dead's going to
Yeah,
end.
Igor! We are fucked!
Well,
We have to fuck back into existence.
There'll be one woman on there who's just looking around like,
going,
yeah,
oh, okay.
who's the bitch now?
Yeah, I'm holding all the cards.
They're all smart fuckers. They might, stand in line. Otherwise, you might get torn to shreds,
Yeah, exactly right.
and that's the end of it.
Yeah, especially how would that work? If you're in anti-gravity.
I'm pretty sure they've done some studies on conception in not anti-gravity, in no gravity.
No gravity, yeah.
Well, it's actually limited gravity, isn't it?
Yeah.
At that stage. No, how long they probably stay up there as long as they can just to make sure shit's or shit's just cleared.
Yeah.
And then go right, either. What do? Do you go repopulating because there's going to be a fair amount of incest?
Yeah.
And you're going to have a world of inbred kids, or do you go? You know what, guys? This is it. Human race is going out with us.
It was good enough for Jesus. We just fuck each other till it doesn't matter we're related.
Yeah, or you go the other way and say, guys, this is it.
That's
We're done.
Yep.
Human race is done. I've always said if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm on Team Zombie.
Yep. I'll just go up to the line and say, all right, you're the man in the house now. It's up to you guys. Gotta go to the chimpanzees. We made it from that stage to here, so you guys are up next.
No, don't
You're on deck, son.
Don't go the chimpanzees. Simians have had their chance. Go the cats.
Go the cats, yeah.
All the dogs, and it'll end up like Red Dwarf. You get cat.
Yeah.
Say, guys,
What's happening?
those guys have had their chance. It's you now.
Yeah. Step up to the plate, son.
Yeah.
Prove your worth.
Right.
Right.
I don't know. How'd you get on to
No, I don't know, but I've spent a lot of time at dead tables and casinos thinking about all sorts of different shit.
I've had retail jobs.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more of them coming out as the season progresses. I've had a lot of time to think about a lot of random shit.
This AFL off-season just kills me.
Yeah, exactly. And especially, we've got to mention the passing of Phil Hughes because, it's a very sad day and it's just not something we even want to joke about, to be honest. It's just...
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest thing in world sport at the minute. And we decided we didn't want to talk about it really because there's nothing more. We took cricket off the list, but we got a bat out the front.
Yeah,
like everyone else.
We have to mention, of course, it's a very serious incident, but it's a freak incident, and it really affected the nation. You even saw it in soccer tonight. They had that minute of silence, and 63rd minute, everyone got up and cheered.
Yeah, they did it well.
Yeah.
All right, let's call that episode 1
down.
Next time you hear from us, I think we'll be doing the St Kilda 2014 season wrap.
Yeah, and we'll do the... What is it?
We haven't figured out what to call it, but we're going to do the season wrap while watching, one of the good wins from the year, which for St Kilda will obviously be the Freo game.
Yeah.
So we're going to watch that and Mystery Science Theatre 3000 style, comment over it. So we'll put up the links and you can watch it and listen to us bullshit on while it's going on. And
also we're going to have a forum up and running on our website that you can chat in and also give us feedback, tell us how it is, or just general chat. Tell us things you'd like us to talk about or to find out. We are here to actually give information as well as try and have a laugh. So we want to be current and factual and shoot the shit. So.
We'll settle for one or the other.
yeah.
They don't need to be both.
Yeah. But yeah, feel free to hit us up on our website or Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Handles @ClickingBalls.
Yeah, clickingballs.com. You'll find the links all there.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.